The Clashing Conferences Podcast. Let's go.
Welcome back, everybody. The Clashing Conferences Sports Fan Network. We're here after Week 12. Welcome special guest Bobby Skinner of Talking Giants. We'll get with him here in a second, but let's recap Week 12. We had three matchups. We had an interdivision matchup. We had Dallas beating Washington 34-26. Paul did not show up tonight because of that crushing defeat. Philadelphia had a big win, 37-20 over the Rams. And the Giants lost a big one, 7-30 to the Bucks. Bobby, we're bringing you on anyway because it's a Thanksgiving tradition, but I'm sure you probably would have preferred a better week to show up and talk about your Giants. In the internal competition, we had three categories. We had team reception yards went to Washington with 275. That's a pretty big number. Total points went to Philly with 37, also a pretty big number. And touchdowns, as I think I was going to say widely predicted, but no, that's not correct. Touchdowns as predicted by Gregg, 2 for Saquon. I've been saying for a couple weeks now, we're going to keep leading off with Gregg until he gives us a reason not to. And leading division, biggest win of the week, 2 points in the competition, leading the competition, although you lost 1 point last week, I'm told by the producer here. So you got 15.
Ooh, what did I lose?
12.
Man,
you said a bad word.
Yeah, you said something you shouldn't have last week. So you got 15.
Man.
Paul's got 12. Randy's got 9. And Chris has 6. Let's lead off with Gregg and hear about that Eagles win.
Eagles fly on the road to victory.
This is really
fight, Eagles, fight.
stupid.
All right. Sorry, guys. Sorry.
It was a good dumbest song I've ever heard in my life.
It is the greatest song. I even had you singing it in Atlantic City a couple of years ago.
Did not have me singing it.
Yeah.
You know damn well you didn't have me singing that.
No, it was a good week, Mike. I appreciate that little introduction. And I got to say, how about them Cowboys? They did it for us. They got that win down in Washington, too. So we'll give a little shout out to them. But no, we had a really good week. We played a really good team. That Rams D-line it's tough, man. But I'm really excited about what I saw. You know, I'll start off with some of the downside of the sadness. We lost BG. He's a huge member of our D-line, veteran, tore his tricep. Sad about that. He was on this morning on WIP and got really emotional, and he's going to stay with the team and travel with the team as much as he can. He's going to get surgery next week. But he's the heart and soul of our D-line. He's the guy that gets the motors rolling for those dudes. So it's going to be a big loss. But overall, you know, I think we look at the team. We look at the offense and the defense. They're both top 5 in the league. Our defense, I think, is holding, top 5 with points allowed, with yards allowed. So, holding Cooper Kupp to 60 and Williams, I don't think Williams had a big game either. I think he was under 80 yards rushing. We played well. Our offense is just clicking right now. You know, it's the Saquon show. Saquon was a beast last week. He had a couple really, really obviously great runs. I've been saying
long one was like 72 yards, right?
Yeah, he had 72 and a 70.
Him. Nobody even touched him.
I've been saying it since we got him in the offseason. I was so excited because our O-line is just, in my opinion, awesome. I love our line. I was, when we lost Kelsey, I wasn't sure.
He's loving it too.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how it was going to fit. But picking up Beckham from the Jets was huge. And when I say huge, I mean 6'7", 380 huge. And sliding him to guard, he is just, they're road graders, man. They are, and I want Bobby to talk on this because I know Bobby knows a lot about O-line, D-line play, and just they're moving mass. And the Rams D-line is nice. And there was some key plays in the game. You know, we talk about the huge runs, but we picked up first downs when we had to. Going into halftime, I was a little nervous. I think we were up 13-7. And then we just started pounding the rock. I think that it took a couple games to realize that we are a running team in Philly, and that's what our O-line is.
Randy's been saying it for almost 2 years.
Yeah. I have. I've been telling you guys that if you run, dude, you guys never run consistently until now.
I don't think they went to go get Saquon, and they weren't. Their plan was to run the ball.
Yeah,
obviously.
And I agree. I mean, we're not going to pay him $12.5 million to not hand the ball off to him, right, Chris? Wasn't that what they
Chris,
said?
what week is he supposed to get hurt?
No, Mike, don't jinx me.
You guys are using him.
The funny thing
heavily.
is, yeah, I mean, we'll be talking about this contract next year, and it might not look as good, but he did act like he was hurt there for a little bit. That's when I actually fell asleep. The score wasn't even out of control. I seen him stretching it out, and I was like, uh-oh. And then I woke up, and then he had like 300 yards, and that was all
300 total yards. And like our D is playing great right now. Our D line is playing really good.
Your
on the back end,
Q's playing really
good.
well. Yep.
Cooper.
Unfortunately, I can't trash him, buddy.
You know, when Cooper came back in off the injury, you know, he's been solid back there. Slay, you know, when he went out, we missed a little. So he's older, and you know he is more injury prone now. So it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. But like I'm excited about these rookies and this young team. I'm excited about our offense and where we're going. I hope we just keep running the ball. You know, Kenny G needs to get more involvement in there. And then maybe bring in the rookie a little bit too to kind of save some yards. I mean, we got a huge game next week that we'll talk in a little bit about with Baltimore. But overall, I thought the week went great. You know, I didn't get to see much of the Giants game. I apologize, Chris. I'll let you kind of do some talk on that. You know, and then the Washington Cowboys game, you know, it was an interesting game. I'll let you guys talk a little bit more on that one too. But I thought there was a couple huge mistakes, obviously, and you know, but we'll kind of go from there. But I'm excited. Randy, what do you think about the game?
Well, you know, it was interesting. We started this year talking about some of us about the disrespect running backs are getting in the league, and you look at, you know, Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, you know, Josh Jacobs. You look at these different running backs that are good running backs that have switched teams and what they've done, and I really do feel like the league has made a mistake of disrespecting the running back role. And you see it this year. You see the teams.
It's almost like the value's coming back.
Yeah, but can I rebuttal one thing on that though? None of these running backs would be doing what they're doing on their previous team.
I mean, I'm not disagreeing.
We let him go for the right reason.
Chris, look at the teams they left and what those teams 100%. Are doing right now. And the teams that they're on.
A running back like this to an already set team. This type of running back isn't what you build your team around.
And I agree with you, Chris. But what I'm saying, early on this year, you were the number one saying running backs don't deserve to be paid that kind of money right now.
I'm saying that's what they were paying him, and they offered him more the year before. That's all I was saying.
But I remember you specifically saying early on this year, like we're not. You're stupid to pay a running back that kind of money right now. And
I said we made a mistake taking him 2 overall, possibly.
Anyway,
and that's what you're trying to do now.
Dude,
you talked a lot about how Barkley was trash, and you'll take your.
I never said he was trash. I'm happy with my.
You did.
Here we go.
Said he wasn't going to last very long. He was going to get hurt multiple times.
Go ahead, Bobby.
With the whole league, is we went from where people, you know, talking about running backs don't matter, and they did. But I think we're seeing where they do matter when they're like a nice added touch to a team that's already established.
Sure,
that's what I was trying to. Yeah,
because like I said,
I never said he was trash. I said he lied because he could have signed 3 years, $42 million with us, and then DJ might not have got $40 million a year. His contract might have been $35 million a year. Barkley would have signed that contract. That's all I'm saying.
Aren't you forgetting to add, and I heard this today in an interview from him, he was two previous years before that on 1-year contracts. So, like,
No,
you
he
were
wasn't.
telling him to prove it,
Yes,
to
he
prove it,
was.
to prove it.
No,
He
1
was,
year.
Chris.
It was only 1 year.
Three straight years on a one-year contract is what he
Bobby,
said.
that's not true either. His contract was almost up. It was a year they went to the playoffs. They offered him 3-year, $42 million, which would have been $14 million a year. He turned it down and fired that agent. Bobby, isn't that what happened? Isn't that what happened?
Played the year on the
Right.
franchise tag, and then
And then the very next year, they put him on the franchise tag, and then they ripped it up, and he signed a 1-year contract. And then this year, they didn't sign him. He was only on a 1-year contract 1 year.
Yeah.
And
I
they
thought
put the
you
tag
said he
up.
was on a franchise contract and then a 1-year contract. That would
No,
be two
that he-
1-year
No, they
contracts.
changed the franchise tag that year.
They changed the franchise tag that
Okay.
year. He had
Yeah.
every opportunity to be a Giant, and that's why I was upset with him. And
Well,
I am happy. And like our running backs aren't doing bad as a unit. And we're playing less than $10 million for two of them. Like, what do you like? They're
no,
not
but
bad.
Chris, you're dealing with the same thing Dallas. This is what I was going to get into is Dallas
Our line
completely
sucks.
disrespected the running back position, and right now they're paying for it. You know, the year we drafted Zeke Elliott, I think most Cowboys fans were upset, but he turned out to be probably the best thing they could have drafted for those 3-4 years he played for us. All I'm saying, you asked what I thought about our game. I mean, it was a great game. I've been telling you guys our defense is decent. I know we're getting a lot of points scored on us, but they're playing aggressively. You know, they get burnt some. I mean, 88 yards of that was on a stupid play that we were trying to play to keep them off the sidelines, and it was just a blown coverage play. Besides that, keeping that team to 300 yards total offense is not terrible. You know, obviously the two punt returns are great. Our special teams is playing well. Aubrey, he missed 2 points after. If I were Paul, I wouldn't show up either. There's not much to say. He's going to complain about the missed point extra. We missed 2 field goals. So in the end of it, you know, there's so much that goes into that game.
I don't
but
feel
I
bad
do
for him. That's how we lost to him because we didn't have a kicker.
Oh, there you go. So no, I mean it was a great game. I really, in the end, you know, we're playing for a draft spot right now. I want that Boise State running back pretty bad with what I'm seeing right now. But yeah, I mean, I didn't watch the Giants game either. I don't think many people have. I'm really curious to see whether you guys start Drew Lock this week, and I guess that leads me into my question I was going to ask you, Bobby. Like, Chris was at least last week 100% diehard with DeVito. We were all saying we think that they should start Locke. You guys are paying him $5 million a year, the highest paid backup in the league. What do you think?
I think they're screwed either way, because Locke has been like really bad every chance that he's got. To DeVito's credit, the Bucks defense throws a ton at you, and I think he can play better against other defenses, even though the Bucks defense isn't great. But the Giants are just kind of in a no-win situation right now because both quarterback options are pretty bad. But I do think they should have went to Locke just because they actually paid Locke. Like, you could have, if he struggled, you could have went to DeVito for the last 4 games or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
My only reason why I wanted to
let me remind you real quick that last year when we had you on for Thanksgiving, Bobby, we had you on because Chris had a special guest because he had won the week after DeVito threw 3 touchdowns against Washington that week. So he can do it.
Yeah, and I think DeVito can have a decent game here or there, but I also think Drew Lock can, and probably he's more equipped to do it on a regular basis. But they're just still in a bad situation overall. I think for the Giants, the rest of the year, it's about just surviving. Like, can Brian Dable survive it? Because they got a
couple weeks ago they said they were safe. Now it don't look like they're too safe.
So do you want Brian Daboll to survive, Bob?
No, because I don't want Joe Shane to survive. And there's no way Joe Shane doesn't survive and Brian Dable does.
That's
so it sounds to me like for you it's a win-win. If the Giants would suddenly win out, it's probably all right. If they lose out, it's probably not the end of the world either.
Well, I think they're going to get a 4th year regardless, which I'm not like totally against that because the Giants have signed through so many people that you got to have some type of patience. And even if I don't think Joe Shane's done a good job, I don't think he's a total moron either. Yeah. So it's just, but I just don't think that they've done a great job. My biggest worry right now for the Giants isn't the fact that Joe Shane is going to be the GM. It's that they're going to panic, take a quarterback that's not that good in this upcoming draft.
So Lewis is in our panel. He's got a question that everybody wants to know. That name Belichick is floating around a lot. I mean, is that anybody that you guys want or think will come in?
No. Belichick needs to go to a team that has the talent on offense already, a ready-made offense, and then him to coach the defense up.
Gotcha.
He's too old. He's too old to take a team like the Giants and just start it from the ground up. Like
we said in our group chat the other day.
Yeah, greatest coach of all time. Even last year, he had that Patriots defense humming. He's not a good GM, so you can't give him full control. And he doesn't. And even then, it'd be worried because giving someone that at that age full control. So I love Belichick. He's the greatest football coach of all time. If I had an offense that was full of talent, I would be racing to get him. Dallas Cowboys, but for the New York Giants, absolutely not.
Could you see that circus down there with Dion, Belichick, and Jerry Jones? Man, I'll tell you what.
You and Lewis all agree.
I'm upset with Dable.
I don't know if the world's ready for that.
Bobby, I've been mad about Dable the last couple of weeks. I was telling these guys for weeks, like I felt like I don't know what happened after that damn Seattle game, but I just feel like the play calling's been terrible, decision making's been terrible, the team isn't disciplined. There's been all kinds of problems, and I know they laugh at me for bringing up Andrew Thomas, but I learned this from you. When he's not on the field, it's a totally different dynamic on that offensive line. So, and then I honestly don't even think DeVito got a fair shot last week because I feel like they all quit on the team. I feel like they're all up. They're not happy with the fact that DJ's not there. They all supported him, and he was the best quarterback on the team. So I'm not happy with Dable right now. Like I feel like we're screwed. I feel like if we don't hit on a quarterback, we're screwed next year. Like is there a chance we don't take a quarterback? Is there a chance we don't take a quarterback and we get
Bobby? Bobby, this leads to my question. We asked Chris this last week. If you're the GM, if you're in charge of everything for the Giants, what are you going to do from here on to the beginning of next season?
If I was able to start fresh, I mean, I would.
No, he's saying like now you're in this situation.
You inherit the team. You inherit everything right now.
As is. What are you doing right now?
All right. So if I'm inheriting the team, that means I got some time. I'm looking to get a quarterback, right? Like, so I'm going into this draft wanting to get a quarterback. But like last year, I'm not going to just take one because I need one. So if they're not there, if say you don't think Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward is the
Cap Jones,
I'm going to try and do what the Bears did a couple of years ago and trade down to a team like the Panthers that are desperate and get those picks, and then hopefully the next year you're in a spot to get that quarterback. And just because the team, I don't know if these quarterbacks can be worth it. This team needs so much talent. Like, even if they get that quarterback right,
these guys think they're close.
They could be close to like a fringe playoff team like Washington right now, but they're not anywhere close to a championship unless
what about a guy like Rodgers?
No. Why? Why would you waste your time on Rodgers?
Because
I would go get Matt Stafford before I get Rodgers.
Well, I don't know if Matt Stafford's available, but I do think Rodgers might be available.
The last time Rodgers played a good game was around the last time DJ played a good game.
Look, again, I know there's stars in that team.
Seriously.
But that team is
DJ hasn't
Jets
played
are completely dysfunctional.
And that wasn't even that great.
But it's just too much baggage for basically 1 year where you're not going to win a Super Bowl anyways.
Sure.
Yeah.
You bring him on a team that's close. Why don't you go get him now?
Good point.
No, you're not close either. You suck.
The right answer to the GM question was to go downstairs to Daboll and tell him that if he wins another game this year, he's not coming back. You need the pick.
You put all your eggs in that basket. I guess.
Here's the thing, though. If you tank, you don't we forget the Eagles. 3-4 years ago. They tanked, right? Might have been best for the organization, but Doug Peterson got fired, and he wouldn't have got fired if it wasn't for that. He lost that team. So
that's what I mean. So
that's why the GM and the coach need to be in on it together. I mean, that GM's got to tell the coach, "Hey, look, I'm I'm guaranteeing your job.
Maybe
Yeah.
that's what they're doing
Don't
right
want to
now.
win games right
No,
now.
but Mike,
But now the players don't want to be there. Now you got people that want to sign there.
The players have to try. I keep saying that
Mike,
every week. The players have to try. The coaches
Players
do not.
know what's going on, and they're not happy right now.
But Mike, you're a Bears fan. Like, would it be not irritating for the rest of the year and make you not want to watch football if you knew your team didn't care to win? Like, you've got to take that into perspective. What are your fan base going to do when the first quarter the freaking stadium's emptying out and it's already empty because no one wants to see the dumb game because they know you're going to lose?
But the next year, if you get that number 1 pick, those stands will be filled again.
Top 5
Bobby,
pick.
I know this ain't supposed to be a Giants thing. It's supposed to be a annual thing, but I do have to ask you this. What's your take on neighbors saying, look, it wasn't the quarterback. It wasn't the quarterback. Like, they're all saying that. What's your take on what are they pissed off about?
You're still defending them.
I'm not. It's not even why I'm doing it. I'm just.
Neighbors
all
is
upset.
Getting the football.
I mean, it's been
And
2.5 years and you're still defending him.
I've been calling that for weeks though with the play call. Why ain't our best player on the team not getting the ball? Like, and they're saying, well, it's
that's what frustrates me. And again, I like Malik
the
Neighbors.
play call is absolutely terrible.
Yeah, they did not, like, I just went through it. I do the film video every week, Chris. They just didn't really design anything specifically for Malik Neighbors. And here's the other issue. They didn't have the ball in the first half. The Bucks had 2 15-play drives. They didn't get the ball at all until 7 minutes left in the first quarter. And then Tommy DeVito takes a sack every other play, and then you're screwed. So they really didn't have a ton of I think they ran 16 plays in the whole first half.
It sounded by the neighbors interview that all week they were scheming him the ball all week.
That's what he says. He says it's like that every
game.
week.
It was like
they ask him what he wants. So that makes me believe Mike. Like, maybe they are just completely tanking. Like, they just do it on purpose.
The other thing that Bobby said, I mean, Tampa Bay is going to bring some crazy blitz packages and cover 2 schemes that not every quarterback is used to seeing. It's a tough defense. They don't have any great players, but they're a strong defensive team. They're a great coach defensive team. So it's a tough scheme to go against.
Couple quick things from the audience chat. We got Corey asking the Giants to leave his number 1 pick alone. He's our token Raiders fan. He does not want you guys to lose on purpose. And Steven, our producer, Cowboys fan, wants to get Bobby's take on the Cowboys.
My take on, it even before the year, it felt like a year where they were just taking off, where it's like, all right, we got to get some of our money right. Now, before all that, you thought maybe they were actually going to let Dak walk, and then they re-signed him, the day before the season or whatever it was. They just didn't try and make their roster better at all. Off Dan Quinn, and then they got injured a bunch too.
That's an understatement at all.
It was just they didn't try that hard this offseason, and then also they had bad injury luck.
You want to share your motto, Randy, with Bob on that?
So my motto, Bob, is if you have a fantasy football team, that's real good, right? You ever play fantasy football, Bobby?
I'm in first place right now. I'm ready to go.
So when you're in first place like you are right now, how many trades are you making?
None. But I'm attacking the offseason though.
Okay. But that's my point. My point is
attack the offseason.
In the end of it, we didn't lose a lot of talent. From a perspective of a manager or, a coach even, I don't know, how much do you really change with something that worked well? Obviously, I think injuries did play into a lot of this. We still haven't seen Bland. Diggs is hurt half the time. Parsons is hurt half the time. Cooks hasn't played hardly a snap this year. There are a lot of injuries.
You got Mingo.
That's true. We do got Mingo. He's going to be a stud yet. Just
Mingo's the new DJ joke on here, Bobby.
It's nothing will be the new DJ.
Mingo's going to be the top 3 quarterback top 3 receiver next year.
I don't know about all that, but I definitely think Mingo will turn into something at some point. Give him some time.
A minimum contract.
Yeah, exactly.
So, just jumping back, Greg, the one thing Chris had said a couple of weeks ago, and I actually was hearing it, listening to commentators, without Saquon, where would the Eagles be this year?
we would be a throwing team. So we would be.
But you were last year, and it was god awful.
Yeah, so then
that's a reason why we picked up Barkley.
I don't disagree. I just
they were a good running last year and the year before though too with backs. Like and I hate DeAndre Swift, by the way. I think he's like a flat out bad running back, but like he was able to play well behind that Eagles offensive line. Yeah. So I think he makes them more serious when it comes to playoff time compared to last year. But I still think they, maybe they have like 1 or 2 more losses, but they're still first place in the division probably.
Yeah, I think our line is better, obviously, at running the ball than pass protect, and that's what they want to do. They want to maul people and just get to that second level. Like even seeing Landon Dickerson on a linebacker is just absolute crazy to me. The other night they're coming out of the stadium, and I know Covey's not a huge dude, but you had Mekhi Beckham standing next to him, and it was absolutely ridiculous how big this guy is. And I had to and I know I've seen him before, but I didn't realize how massive he's. 6'7", 400 pounds.
Yeah, I remember watching him the rookie, and I'd never seen besides Trent Williams, someone just toss NFL players around the way he did. Like he was throwing around Nick Bosa as a rookie.
It's insane to me. So,
well, I got a couple quick questions, pod related for Bobby before we get to halftime here. This first one's a quick one. Eli Manning, first ballot Hall of Fame? Yes or no?
Easy. And if he doesn't get first out, we're riding.
Come on, Bobby.
Top 10 in every single stat, every single one. You have 2 Super Bowl MVPs. Tell me what quarterback would has that resume and wouldn't get in?
Chris, Bobby makes a much better argument.
Yeah, he definitely does.
I said all that stuff.
No,
when I say it,
you were like Eli.
No, when I say it, Bobby, they don't.
Made every receiver.
How about the playoff run? How about the playoff run? How about all the way games?
That's all you've ever talked about is the playoff run.
I said top 10 in every category.
I didn't know he was top 10 in every category.
I sent you a text.
That's news to me.
I sent you that too. I told you to look it up.
Every single wide receiver he had once they left him got significant, including Odell. Every single one fell.
Every
off.
one of them.
So Bobby, when I got on here today, Chris and Gregg were talking about the fact that DJ is going to end up on Baltimore, taking over Lamar's job and winning the Super Bowl.
See, Bobby, that's not even what I said.
I
hate the birds, right?
This is the craziness.
I said, look, I would love. It would be a dream scenario. They pick him up. He gets on the Ravens. They bring him in once in a while, sprinkle him in. It's cool and all. Ravens go to the AFC Championship game. They win it, but Lamar gets hurt. DJ has to roll in, play against the Birds, win that thing.
Well, Chris,
that's going to happen.
I'd love to see it too.
Chris, you're being a little delusional.
What's wrong with that?
Chris, you're being a little delusional. Eagles aren't going to make the Super Bowl.
Thanks, buddy. I tell him that all the time.
Shots fired.
I see one team. I think we can compete with Detroit. I do. I think we're just as good as Detroit.
I don't think that. See, now you're being delusional.
You guys can't throw the ball.
And they can't. You don't think we can throw the ball on them?
I said you can't throw the ball like they do.
Oh, like they do. I agree with that. I think we have more weapons than them. And I think we have a better offensive line than them. And I think we have a better defensive secondary than them. So I think it would be a great game. I really do. I think
it would be a good matchup.
If it's in Philadelphia, in the cold weather, outside of the dome, I think we win hands down.
But here's the thing: is they're the best run defense in the NFL, so they can. I'm not shut that down, but slow it down. Where their offense, no matter what you do, they have answers.
Yeah, agree with
that. So as soon as you take Saquon away and you put it in Hurts' hand, that overrated quarterback, you know what's going to happen.
Are just our juggernaut this year.
They are unreal how they are just stopping teams from scoring and scoring tons of points. It's unreal.
Everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's why I think this coming weekend is going to be a huge matchup because Baltimore is a decent defense as well. And I think that's going to, I think they're better than the Rams. And that's going to prove to us how legit our offense really is. So, yeah, I'm excited.
So predictions on Barkley against Baltimore, Greg.
I think he's going to go for 100, 100 plus. I really do.
This
talk
could be
about
the
it the
Derrick
next.
Henry Barkley takeoff.
We're going to get into that in the second half. We're going to take a quick break. We'll see
You
if
seen what
Thomas
happened when we
Salami
lost Jones.
or Andy or Bobby Skinner can get back with us, and we'll be back here shortly to start looking forward to Week 13.
About them Cowboys.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening. Just a few quick reminders for everybody. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Michael Jordan is the GOAT. And check out our fellow podcaster, Jim Montgomery, with This Day in Philly Sports History. Thank you.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to the second half where we're going to start looking forward to Week 13. But before we do look forward to Week 13, let's look back 12 months ago when Bobby was on our show for the Thanksgiving episode in 2023. And Bobby, I think this is the real reason why Daniel Jones is no longer with the Giants. Because last year, a year ago, you said to us, despite all the Giants' issues, we could be starting Eli Manning, Daniel Jones, Tyrod Taylor, or Tommy Salami. It's always a win versus the Commanders. And you went 0-2 versus the Commanders this year with Daniel Jones. Is that the real reason why he's no longer around?
That's the reason why our special teams coordinator is under fire. It's because those two games. The real reason why he's not around is you just can't lose to the Panthers. It's as much as I trash talk the Commanders. There's losing to the Commanders and there's losing to the Panthers. You can't lose to the Panthers, and that's why he's not around.
Okay, fair enough. I got one more Daniel Jones line that we're gonna save until after we get through the spin wheel. Don't let me forget it. It's a pure gem. First, let's go to the spin wheel. Let's get 3 more categories up for Week 13. And while we're spinning that first one, we haven't said it in a long time because we're on this network thing, but like and subscribe. It's old school, but we'll still take them. Longest touchdown. All right, always a fan favorite. We did not have that last week. Randy, you've been crushing some long touchdowns recently. Didn't Turpin get 2 weeks in a row?
Yeah.
So
Wasn't he one of your kickoff returns this past week?
99 yards.
That's 2 weeks in a row Turpin had a very long touchdown.
Prop
bet. Oh, no. We squeezed past it. We're going to spin that again so we don't have a duplicate.
And guys,
don't
forget to listen to Talking Giants wherever you get your podcasts.
Absolutely. That's Bobby Skinner's show.
Again.
Longest touchdown.
We really want to have long touchdowns this week.
I really want the prop bet.
We could just do it.
Well, we'll see what we get here. Turnovers.
Please be QBR. This is my favorite one.
This will be the veto, I guarantee it.
Maybe we should have Bobby explain this to us.
Please. Somebody needs to explain this to us.
Bobby, do you know how QBR works?
Not exactly, but I know it takes in rushing where quarterback rating doesn't take in rushing.
No more than the rest of these guys then.
We already got 3.
No, we don't. We still got 2. QBR longest touchdown and interceptions.
Is that a defensive stat?
Defense on that one. Defensive interceptions. Longest touchdown. What was our third one? Losing
QBR.
it already.
QBR.
How can I forget?
Your favorite stat. Your favorite one.
All right, so who finished off? We'll lead off with Randy this time. What do you got for us, Randy?
So
hold on. One more thing. I did not get into this yet. The matchups.
Yeah.
Did I do the matchups yet?
No, you did not.
Yeah, you got to give us the matchups.
So we got the Giants going down to Dallas. The Giants are plus 3.5 in that one. Dallas favored by 3.5. We got Tennessee plus 5.5 going to Washington. Washington favored by 5.5. And we got Philadelphia going on the road +3 against Baltimore. Baltimore favored by a field goal in that one. That's going to be a great game. So now, Randy, got some picks for us for
Well,
week 13?
we're going to go 3 weeks in a row. We're going to go 3 weeks in a row. Turpin, longest touchdown, which is going to mean, it also means that Cooper Rush is going to get the QBR. And when we talk about interceptions, I think that Dallas actually has a good shot at the interceptions.
Sweep the
as
week.
Well. So we're going to sweep
crap.
the week this week. I'm going to be catching up to Greg.
You should have went last with him because there was that dumb shit.
I didn't know.
As far as picks, I think Dallas is going to own the Giants. I don't think there's any way we are going to put the sun right in your eyes. We are going to own you guys.
You know damn well you're not going to put this.
The Eagles, that's going to be a really good game, but I just can never pick the Eagles, Greg.
He's waffling, Mike.
I don't even care if they were playing the freaking Carolina Panthers. I think that I'm gonna pick Baltimore. Washington's playing who again?
Tennessee.
Washington is playing Tennessee at home.
Oh, I think Washington wins. I think they have a bounce back week. Will Levis had a big win. I think they're coming off pretty haughty. I think it'll be a really good week. Thanksgiving was looking like it was going to be a really crappy football game with Tommy DeVito and Cooper Rush, but it does look like Dallas is starting to at least get some defensive legs under them that are looking fun. I do think that the Giants at some point are going to try and do something because they can't. I'd love to see a Drew Lock appearance. I don't know. I think it could be an interesting game, but I think Dallas is a lot more talent at this point. Dallas is at home. Dallas is a son.
So never know.
Dallas is a son on their side. We'll see what else we got on our sides, but they're my picks.
That was an important pick to me, Randy. I am in week 13 of a survivor pool, and there are only 2 people left. It was a very large pool to start the year. It's important to me, and I'm thinking about taking Dallas, and it's a little bit scary, but the pickings are slim after 12 weeks, so it's going to be a tough one.
I would take Dallas this week.
Before we get to Chris, Bobby, what do you like in those 3 games this week? You got winners for us?
So the Giants, Cowboys, what's the spread there?
3.5.
I got Giants at least cover, and then
Eagles. Okay. The Eagles are +3 at Baltimore.
Eagles +3 at Baltimore. I'm gonna go Baltimore -3. I think like they haven't seen that Eagles defense hasn't seen anything like what Lamar and Henry do, just because they're basically the only guys that do that. And then what's the Commanders?
You got Tennessee +5.5 at Washington.
I'll go Commanders -5. They get back on track.
Okay, I like it.
Bobby, what from the Giants team this year makes you think they're going to be able to cover that spread? Like, where's your ray of light that says they'll at least cover the spread?
That their run game has gotten a lot better since that last matchup, and the Cowboys' run defense isn't great. And I think they're gonna force feed Malik Neighbors with Drew Lock instead of Tommy DeVito.
So, like the last 3 times we played, though, like what is the combined score?
How many points did the Cowboys
it's got to be like
first game.
What's that?
How many points did the Cowboys score in that first game?
Which this year?
Yeah, against the Giants.
20 something.
I don't know, but I know the last 3 were like 130 total points or 20.
Yeah, but Dak's
total
gone.
Point. Sure, Dak's gone, but Cooper's playing pretty good football right now. Better than what Daniel Jones would play.
20-15 was the last score.
20-15, yeah. So I can see this being 13-10 at best.
Oh, that's a lovely afternoon nap game.
I just got to question Randy's choice of words, asking for a ray of light. I think the ray of light might be going into CD's eyes, and that's why you guys
when I
cover
open the
spread.
You guys can hear me, right? I'm back.
Yeah,
go ahead, Chris. Shoot
you're
away.
back in, and it's your turn for picks.
All right. Well, I don't have any faith in us. I don't know. I mean, I know the ray of light. I know the ray of light will be shining in CD's eyes, but I don't know, man. I feel like the team gave up on Dable. I feel like they're upset. I think Rex Ryan said, he said they didn't give up on him. They gave up on them by taking their best opportunity to win away when they took Daniel Jones away. So I don't know. I feel like they gave up on him. I don't know what's going to happen next year. I don't know who's going to be our quarterback. I don't know who our coach is going to be. And Dallas just beat Washington. I mean, Washington beat us twice. I feel like Dallas wins that game and covers. I do feel like Washington gets back on track and covers. And I did, Greg. I do think the Eagles played a lot better. Barkley can keep doing what he's doing and stays healthy. They're going to be tough to beat, but that's why I don't think they'll win the Super Bowl, because if you got to put it in Hurts' hands, that's when it gets different. You are playing a different team this year, a different dynamic. I'm not going to hate on you, but I do think Baltimore beat you and they cover. Long as TD.
So,
go ahead.
I heard Bobby say earlier, Chris, you're delusional. And then I just saw our producer said Chris is no longer. I just see, I don't know, Bobby's the one who told you he's your guest.
Yeah, because I said the Eagles are going to make it to the Super Bowl, and they're not.
Wow, that's true. But then
our joke, buddy. It was sarcasm. I know you're not,
Our producer just texted that Chris is no longer delusional. That might be the first time we've said that in this podcast.
I'm not delusional. I'm very passionate, and you guys take every word and live on everything I say. Like, there's a fine line of what I think's going to happen, what I hope happens. So I stay on that line. I walk that tightrope all the time. I'm a diehard fan.
You're cutting that line so thin, dude. You're cutting that line so thin.
So, yeah, do I think Daniel Jones is going to play the Super Bowl for the Ravens and beat the Eagles? No. Would I love to see it? Yes, absolutely. All right, longest touchdown.
Team, we don't have it that good, you know.
What's that, buddy? I missed that. What'd you say?
That's true.
I was going to say we're not all lucky enough to have a 4-win team.
That's true.
Yeah.
This is true. The most valuable sports franchise in the world, too, by the way.
So I'm going to say interceptions are going. That's going to go to the Giants. So if the Giants, I didn't pick the Giants to win, but if the Giants are going to have any opportunity to win, they're going to have to pick off Cooper Rush. So I need some points just to keep this thing interesting. I'm going to pick the Giants to get to interceptions, QBR, any quarterback can get that. I'm not going to waffle. So I need points. So DeVito or Locke, whatever one's in, he's going to get to QBR. And then longest touchdown, I'm going to say Tracy breaks one. Longest touchdown. I don't think it's going to happen, Greg. I'm just trying to have something to root for.
I like it.
Something to root for.
No,
I want to sweep the week.
It.
All right.
Sweep the week, buddy.
Thanks, buddy.
I got a couple Giants notes. I know Mike said he wanted to say something, but I do have two Giant notes, more like Diddy Diggs. I just found it pretty interesting that Saquon Barkley has 12 touchdowns this year, and the Giants only have 10 as an organization. So good job, Saquon.
Yeah, our team's pretty bad right now, buddy.
And
he wouldn't have
last year.
He wouldn't have 12 on our team, buddy.
Yeah, I know that.
That's what we've been saying. That's
aware.
what we've been saying. That's why we did the right thing.
The Barkley has 10 plays of 30 yards or more, same as the New York Giants. I thought there were two very interesting stats going into the week.
Gregg's digs.
We're 2-8, buddy.
Yeah,
2-9.
right.
Yeah, we stink.
This is going to be a tough week for me.
Eagles might be better than the Giants this year.
Say that again. What was that, Bobby?
I said I think the Eagles might be better than the Giants this year.
Yeah, I agree with that. See, we agree.
Last year when he was on, you guys were laughing at me because I said there's a possibility we can beat them. We should have beat them twice last year. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's true. That was last year. Good call.
It was.
I am going to take Dallas minus 3.5. I think it's going to be a boring game. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I'm going to say 17-10 Cowboys. I'm going to go Washington minus 5.5 at home. And I'm going to waffle here for a second. I think the Eagles can pull this off, but if we're going to lose 2 games the rest of the year, this is the one game we're going to lose. I think
plus it's an AFC game.
I think this is a very difficult game for us to win. We don't get on a plane the rest of the year. We play 4 out of our last 5 games are at home. We travel in a bus. So I'm excited about all of that.
Plus Lamar only lost to one quarterback ever in the NFC.
And that was Daniel Jones.
That was.
We know
We already
that.
looked at. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. But again, this is not the Daniel Jones show. I think that we have a lot of things on our side.
Yet.
I think that there was a tough game in California. They're traveling back. It's a long week. It's a holiday week. They had to get up. They had to win the hardball game. And I think we catch them. I really do. I'm going to take the Birds +3. I think it's a close game, but I'm taking those 3 points. I think Baltimore wins, but we cover. I think it's a 1-point game. I really do. I think we lose. I think Tucker kicks a field goal at the end to beat us, get out of his funk, and that's the game we lose. Then we look at the rest of the year, and I don't think we're going to lose to the Panthers like the Giants did. Longest touchdown.
If you do you bench Hurts?
No, we don't do that.
All right. Well,
it's actually probably, never mind. Longest touchdown. I am going to go with AJ Brown on that. Again, going with my heart. I doubt it's going to happen. Baltimore's defense is good. I just don't see it. QBR, I have to go with Hurts. Will it happen? No, it won't. DeVito or Cooper Rush is going to win this.
Cooper Rush will have it.
I have to go with my man. Jalen's going to win that. And then defensive interceptions, I got to go with the Eagles. I mean, let's be honest. They're going to run the ball with Henry about 25 to 30 times, so they're not going to be throwing the ball a lot. But I want points, so I'm going to go with the Eagles there. So I see it as kind of like a slobber knocker game. Mike, do you know what the over-under is on that?
I do not.
All right. I'm showing 50.5, which seems a little high to me, but I would take the under and the Eagles +3.
Okay.
That's where I'm going.
We got 2 quick chat requests from the live audience. Corey Dickinson wants a host bet out of the NFC East games. It's an easy one, Corey. I'm going to give you a prop pick. Derrick Henry is getting back in the end zone. I think this past week, last night was the first time all year possibly that Derrick Henry did not find the end zone. It's been the lock of the year. I think he's back in there next week against the Eagles, but I do think that game's competitive, and I think the Eagles I'm going to say the Eagles cover that one. Yes. And also in the chat, we got Steve who wants to get Bobby Skinner's take on Saquon Barkley's success this year in Philly. I think you talked about it a little bit already about the difference in O-lines, but how do you feel about Saquon having success in Philly this year?
No, I think he's joining some of the great backs of all time that have success with the Eagles, like Miles Sanders and DeAndre Swift. I'm happy for him.
I don't know if that's who I think of when I think about the great backs of Eagles all time.
He looks good. He looks good. Henry having resurgent years, and he's got wide open holes to run through, unlike last year where he had being tackled in the back. So good for him. We'll see if that passing game is able to stay up to snuff.
You guys see that stat that was live in a game? He's averaging 2.1 yards before contact.
Yeah,
pretty crazy.
It's crazy. It is crazy. So
that's a big number.
When they're starting to put him out there with some big names, I wouldn't say Swift is a big name. I wouldn't say Miles Sanders is a big name either.
It was sarcasm. He was saying any running back can run behind that line.
That's where I'm getting at. Like they're putting out numbers where we're entering 2,000 yards possibly. Like, what are your thoughts on that? Honestly.
No, they went from a good rushing team to a great rushing team, and that can make a difference between winning and losing playoff games. Gotcha. It makes it less reliant on Jalen Hurts like last year, where it was. I feel like at the end of the year they were putting everything on Jalen Hurts' plate.
Yeah, that's probably why they went 1-7 in the season.
So they're making it, and they're creating more one-on-ones for AJ Brown. To do what he's doing. So. It's obviously made them a more serious team than what they were last year, and take a good rushing offense and turn it into a great one.
Cool, yeah. So would you keep feeding him or would you save him? You're the coach. You're Nick Sirianni.
I mean, you keep feeding them. I mean, you don't mess with it until it's broken. Like you can't
Or
play
he's broken.
Like in 2 years will that contract
Yeah,
not
let's
be
reevaluate this contract in a year or
sure?
so.
But like you're doing this for right now. Like that's why you made the cap hit
I
small.
agree with that. I agree
You're
with
doing
that.
it for right now. You don't try and save him for 2-3 years down the road. You might not
And
even
they
be.
are playing right. And they are playing a lot better now than they were in the first spot. Unlike last year, they got better this year in the second half of the year. They fell apart in the second half of the year.
You know, I think back of Adrian Peterson, and like he went to a bad team and made that bad team good. And I go back to this thing. I do feel like even here today we're belittling running backs a little bit. Like I do think that it's more than just a good line. Like Saquon's a game changer in a lot of ways. Yeah, you know, you can't have no offensive line like the Giants had last year. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like right now we're seeing a resurgence in the running back that has been like going down the past 3 or 4 years, that important player. You know, you look 3 or 4 years ago, you had your Zeke Elliott's, your trying to think. I mean, there was a lot of really good, top line running backs that were carrying teams, and they're just at the beginning of this year. I remember the NFL or the fantasy drafts. There's no one obvious out there, and it's even Christian McCaffrey, who seems like a lock, wasn't a lock as much. I know everybody picked him first overall, but no one really looked at that running back situation quite like we did 5 years ago. And I don't know, seeing a resurgence right now.
Well, before we get out of here, we're gonna bring it all back together. The DJ, the Thanksgiving, we're gonna bring it all back together with a quote from Randy, I believe it was, on last year's Thanksgiving episode, when he said, "Cranberry sauce is the Daniel Jones of Thanksgiving items on the table." So, to all of you guys, what are your favorite Thanksgiving items on the table? What are your
Yeah, I thought
favorite
Paul said
Thanksgiving
that.
traditions? Somebody said it. It was definitely somebody. But let's talk quickly on Thanksgiving. One thing each. If you got something you look forward to every year, or thankful for, or just enjoy about Thanksgiving, give it to us. Who wants to go first?
I'll
To
go.
me, go ahead, Greg.
Somebody.
I was gonna say you gotta get the turkey in there, man. That turkey is that's a level one. That's a level one food.
Level one food.
Absolutely love the turkey, but I like the turkey like the next day or two after when you're making the sandwiches, putting the mayo.
Okay.
Sloppy seconds.
That's like my favorite. Or I'll even make like my own version of the gobbler and put the cranberry on it. Everything,
of course,
dude. I love cranberry sauce. Like, I mean, I can't help it. Yeah, why? Because
You love Daniel Jones.
We know.
But yeah, I'll make my own gobbler. I love all that. So yeah.
Gravy's the offensive line of Thanksgiving, right? It's all that other stuff is good, but if gravy makes it better, you've seen that with Saquon Barkley this year. So you gotta have good gravy.
You can put gravy on everything, right? Absolutely everything.
You could.
Turkey, good with gravy. Mashed potatoes, good with gravy. Carrots, you need the good gravy. You need the offensive line to, make everything else flash.
I love it.
What's he cracking up about?
I can't say it out loud, but y'all got to look at the chat.
Corey is not right.
So, listen, I think Thanksgiving is the cap of my three favorite months.
Probably does that every year. That's probably a tradition.
No, I think the Thanksgiving Day is a cap of September, October, November, the best months of the year. The beautiful weather, the collar, football, Thanksgiving. I love it. It's like kind of the end of that season for me, the beginning of Christmas. I don't know. I just love everything about it. I love food, so.
I wish we were fighting for first place tomorrow instead of last place, but that would make it a lot better.
I think that I already lost the last place.
Start a new tradition next year, Chris.
I hope. Yeah, Bobby, maybe next year we'll be talking about the Giants. It'll be a lot better.
Maybe.
All right, well,
I'm
that
not
is the
feeling
Thanksgiving episode. Before we go, Bobby, please tell everybody where they can find Talking Giants and your show.
Yeah, just basically Talking Giants on YouTube, podcast app, same place you guys find Clashing Conferences. And then all the social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. And thank you guys for having me on. I'm sure I'll be on before the next Thanksgiving, but I look forward to seeing you guys
Absolutely.
next time.
We'll
We
score lots of
appreciate
points
having you
next year.
always, man.
Yeah, we'll bring you on for the draft episode. See what you guys are cooking up there in New Jersey.
Perfect.
That'd be great. Thanks, brother.
Let's go, boys.
Thank
See
you
you
guys.
all next
Guys.
week.
See ya.